Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey, everybody, this is Michael J. Maher with another Referrals Podcast episode. I am so excited about today. One of my favorite people on earth we're going to have as a guest today, Mike Cuevas, the real estate marketing dude. But before I get into that, I just have to say thank you to the listeners and viewers of this. This has become one of the most referred podcasts in the world. Thanks to you, listeners and viewers. No marketing, no advertising, no promotion. 100% you listening to it, watching it on YouTube, and then sharing it with your office or with the people that you know. I have to tell you, whoever wants referrals should listen to Referrals Podcast. I believe it's the best free content out there on referrals. And I will tell you that today we're going to bring you another great episode. But I have to tell you, I have a shout out for Nancy Dennison in Hawaii of all places. It's great to be in Hawaii. She said, I am so grateful for all I've learned from your podcast. I only wish I had found you early in my career. Thank you, Nancy. I was ready to retire, but not ready to walk away from the income. I spent close to a year examining other real estate agents and went with a team who also belongs to the generosity generation because of your podcast. I retired at the end of March and threw a retirement party. The party cost me $1,500. However, the new team has already listed 6 properties for people who attended the event. I got that idea from you. Without your input, neither of us would have achieved this success. I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am that I can be enjoying my new home in Hawaii and will be receiving the unexpected income and still listening to the Referrals Podcast. Nancy, that's like phenomenal. Like, thank you so much. And today we're going to pile on. We're just going to add more to the vast library that we have in the vault of the Referral Vault. And today we have with us Mike Cuevas. Mike, welcome to Referrals Podcast, brother.
What an honor, dude. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to share what I can today with video. So thanks for having me.
Well, I love it. And I will tell you that there are a lot of people here who do listen only, and that's great. They listen while they walk or jog or work out or just kind of listen while they're doing other things, which is great. I would encourage you to log on to YouTube and watch this one as well. He's got a great backdrop that I'm not going to tell you what it entails, but it's a dang cool backdrop. And it actually feeds into today's subject that we're going to talk about. Today is going to be all about video and how video builds your brand and gets referrals. But before you jump into that, Mike, I mean, a lot of the people don't know your story.
Sure.
How did you become the real estate marketing dude?
Interesting story. Thank you for asking. So how I became the real estate marketing dude. Well, I've been an agent since 2002. The background, sold real estate up until about 3 years ago. I recently moved across the country from Chicago to San Diego to pursue the real estate marketing dude and a project I've been working on the side full time, went all in on it. But it's a funny story that you ask is because, I love the marketing side of our business. I love the branding side of our business. It's just fascinating to me. And it's what I've always been really good at, regardless of who I worked with. So how I came up with the real estate marketing dude was I started a podcast probably about 4 years ago, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that if I started creating a lot of content and videos and blogging that I would turn into some kind of brand, or I would do something while I was building my software project and whatnot. So real estate marketing dude actually happened on accident in what we're doing today, because it was just a need that sort of popped up. But how the name came up is originally Real Estate Marketing Dude was a blog site that was called Rookie to Rockstar. And I was at a marketing event in Denver, and I forget who was speaking. It was like a Seth Godin type or something like that. It was a Rainmaker event, so it was a really good event. And then they're talking about personal branding. And he goes, nobody can put on a fake front or something along those lines. And, and he's like, you have to be you at the end of the day. And at that time, my brand name for practicing real estate was Chicago Real Estate Dude. And I'm like, I'm a dude. that's who I am. I'm the real estate marketing dude. So then I went back and I switched my whole name, and that's how we came up with real estate marketing dude. I realized that the whole dude thing, the thing that I really realized was that people work with like-minded people, and you attract the like people. So I realized I would say this on my show is like, I repel attorneys, doctors, and anyone that wears a suit and a tie, because it just wasn't fit my brand. But I would attract other dudes and dudettes and people that I thought, my whole cartoon thing was cool, right? And I realized that we all do that, though. We all attract like people. So I became comfortable in my own skin, and I started screaming it from the rooftops.
Well, you be you, right? You're being your authentic self, and that's the most attractive self, is the authentic self. You're being who you are. Totally. And what I love, though, is, and maybe we dive into branding as much as we do into the video to build your brand, but it's one of those where what you did that was really brilliant with your brand is your avatar is cartoon, but it has a suit and tie. So what's cool about that is that, like, humor has been proven to fail in financial services. If you're too funny, people don't take you seriously, and money is serious. So it's really hard to be funny and a realtor in your brand. And many people, in fact, Howard Brinton always suggested that you avoid funny as much as possible. And I'll tell you, Russell Shaw out of Arizona is a stand-up comic. He was a stand-up comedian for many years, and he got into real estate, and he did all the research. He wanted to be the funny guy and all that. And he shut that down in a heartbeat and went down the path of, I'm just applying for a job. I have the no hassle listing program. Very serious, very much like no hassle, very much I'm applying for a job, right? Yep. And went away from that. He's a very funny guy. But so what I love about it, though, is you've combined this like, when people, you never wear a tie. I guarantee it. When's the last time you wore a tie? Seriously.
Do you want to know a true story? I found my, I just moved houses about 12 months ago, and I found all of my suits in like this garbage bag in my garage, and there's mold growing on them because I never took them to the damn cleaners. And I got the suits, and I was like, oh. So I own one suit right now, and I only had to buy that suit like within the last 6 months for a wedding.
Yeah.
It's not even tailored. It's not even tailored right. Like, I swear, like, it's not even tailored right on the.
It's short, right? It's all good. But the thing is you don't have to wear a tie, and you wouldn't wear a tie because you've dressed up your avatar with the real estate marketing dude. So the real estate marketing dude, if you just saw it on its own, you would be, can I take this seriously? And then you look at your logo, your cartoon character, and it's like, all right, I can take him seriously because at the very least the avatar is wearing a tie. So he takes it seriously, but not too seriously. He's the real estate marketing dude. There's so many great combinations. You branded yourself.
It's a good point, because I first was Chicago real estate dude, and I remember at that time I was going from because we used to be really heavy in the short sales, but I went so heavy in the short sales that it was hard for me to recover as the regular residential market came back.
Yeah. So
what ended up happening was like, oh, I thought you just do short sales. So I had this whole re-education process with my database, and it was a bad move to make. And I remember when I decided to go Chicago real estate dude, I was probably the first person I know of that used a cartoon. Like, if you look at my Chicago real estate dude website, it looks like Disneyland. Like, it's a bunch of cartoon characters with heads on it. And people thought it was really ballsy at the time. But I started to learn really quickly that it was top of mind brand awareness. And I realized, too, no one that I knew I attracted would have any problem with me being a dude. And quite frankly, if they did, I didn't want to work with them anyways, because it was just a pain in the butt process, right? So at the end of the day, this entire business, this is where branding is so important, is that this entire business is about attention. My dudeness allows me to talk the way I do naturally.
That's right.
I'm not going to swear on this podcast, but I'm known to do that. But it's just because I'm really passionate about what I do and how I roll. It's just how I am. I mean, I'm not putting on a front, but because I'm so authentic, it gives me the permission to do that.
That's right.
And it's no differently than anybody else. Top of mind brand awareness is everything in a referral dominated business.
It's easier to refer real estate marketing dude than it is Mike Cuevas.
Totally.
Right? I mean,
it is.
It says it all, right? This is the real estate marketing guy. This is the real estate marketing dude. He's gonna take care of your real estate and your marketing.
Let's chat about branding really quick and why it's so important.
No, why would we do that with us too? I think, you know what we should do? Let's talk about for sale by owner war. There's a war going on with for sale by owners.
Yeah.
So let's talk about branding a little bit before we jump into the marketing of it, right? How do we build our brand in general? How do we build it with video?
Well, the whole key to getting started on video is to dial in your message first, because it's not about shooting videos to check a box because a guru told you to do it. Yeah. You have to, this is a long-term strategy, and you build your brand by consistent communication to the same audience over time. Yep. Right. So we already know that that's the formula, and it's the exact same formula, you guys, as farming, which we're all familiar with.
That's right.
Right. So when people, I'll give you the stats on farming so people can sort of follow along, but regardless of, and I'm sure, Michael, you'll agree with these, but the statistics, no matter who you talk to on farming, is that you would pick 500 doors. Year 1, you might get 1 to 3 listings. Year 2, you might get 3 to 5. And in year 3, you get 5 to 7 plus. And then all of a sudden you start to become this neighborhood expert. The question is, why does that happen? Now, this is just direct mail showing up to somebody's mailbox or doorstep once a month consistently. And people over time start to assume, like, oh my God, this is the dude of the neighborhood. Yeah. And they become familiar with you. But if you quit that campaign, like take a week like this with everything that's happening with COVID-19 and everything, if someone scales back their marketing that's farming right now, you just screwed up the whole previous campaign, because that's attention, folks. Yeah. So when there's consistency in it, and if you don't identify your brand first and whom you really are as an individual, it's very hard to do video long term. Yeah. When you nail it, you'll know exactly what to create videos on. So I could do it for an example. Chicago real estate dude is a dude. So what would a dude do? Yeah. A dude would create videos on breweries and craft beer, because that's what he would have events at breweries. That's what the dude would do, right? Yeah, you have to live it out in all aspects. Yeah, you would have happy hours. Happy hour would be every hour for the dude. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of branding with dude. That's the fun part of this. We have a mutual friend, actually, how we met, and she does probably the best job. I'm gonna give a shout out to Tara Carter down in Florida with what she did with her flamingo. That's right. There's 63,000 realtors in South Florida, but there's only one with a flamingo. That's right. And it's all about, how do you differentiate and how does your story really relate to others? Yeah. A stat that I just wrote down that a lot of people, or agents at least, forget is that, and here's why I think you could be personable now, because you're right, you couldn't be prior to social media. I remember when I graduated college, a week before, I'm literally doing keg stands. Yeah. 7 days later, I'm walking down Michigan Avenue with my first suit, working at my first real estate company. And at that time, people did believe, this is like 2002, 2003, I don't know when it shifted, but at that time, you did have to be with a big name brokerage. Right. You had to have that credibility. But with social media, it's really allowed us all to be individualized and personalized. And that's really humanized our entire profession, I believe. Yeah. Well, I think the big thing, too, on that is that you have to start with who you are, right? It's like that start with why from, Simon Sinek gets a lot of credit for this. And I have found that even with my presentations, my speaking engagements, I always have to start with why, start with not necessarily my why, but maybe their why, and why are we about to learn what we're learning? And it's one of those where, there's these 3 things that keep coming. Anytime I hear the word brand, I think of 2 other words. And it's reputation and character, right? And what we kind of have to do is almost work backwards with our character. What is our character? Like, what are the characteristics of us personally? Character is just short for characteristic. So ask people, like, what are words that you think of when you think of me? And the thing that led Tara to the flamingo was people said, fun, friendly, and yet stylish, and it's like, that's how she kind of led her path down to the flamingo. But she didn't just slap a flamingo on things. She does flamingos, which is let's flamingo, and it's her get-togethers, her gatherings are flamingos, which fits perfectly with her character
And here's the other thing. Her reputation of being stylish, right? The flamingo has that kind of that tall, lanky and look, kind of like she does. And then the highest part of it is that brand, right? What's your character? What are the characteristics? What's your reputation? And then that leads to, what your brand.
So since we're talking about her video series, because we're doing her video series. So she's a flamingo. The name of her series is called What the Flock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And What the Flock is all about astonishing facts about their market. So we just did a video on a car dealership, like the high-end car dealerships. Yeah. Where they sell I think the highest car in there was $450,000 or something. So custom high-end South Florida, Fort Lauderdale dealership. Yeah. And the intro for that really sets it up because they're like, have you ever seen all these $400,000 cars rolling around in the middle of Los Olas? And you're just like, what the fuck? And that's always the intro. So we built in that whole jingle because everyone is going to remember that whole, what the fuck? Yeah. And it's a funny way, but it really matches and demonstrates their personalities and the true character of how their business really resonates and who they attract.
Yes, 100%. And it wouldn't surprise me to hear Tara on stage say, what the flock? Or even in person, you and I are talking about something and you probably say a great idea. And she goes, what the flock? That's a great idea. I could totally see her saying it. It's become a part of her language and part of her, creating a culture around your brand, which is above the brand, right? It's create a brand. 7L is a brand. Generosity Generation is a culture, right? So like you've done with real estate marketing,
here's the biggest thing I get with people that we have to help to rebrand is that, and it is hard. People don't look at themselves as a brand because they don't realize you are 96% of consumers hire the agent, not the company they work for nowadays. That's right. So if you are the brand, but I get it. It's really hard to look at yourself as an individual of a brand. But the challenge I always ask everybody is if you guys were to open up a bakery or a restaurant, wouldn't that be a brand? And wouldn't you market that?
Yeah. What would you call it?
Yeah. What would you call it? Right. Mm-hmm. And it is weird to think about it because ultimately people are hiring people. Yeah. So it's okay to be yourself. Yeah. I don't believe that going forward, I don't believe that my whole thing, and you can have your opinion on it, agree or disagree with me, but I don't believe the whole professional thing has a lot of length or longevity. I think it's a personable approach to business, and it's happening in every single facet, not just in real estate. Everything has gone way more personable, way more one-on-one, way more connecting. I think they call it the connect economy, whoever termed that. It's a lot about how do you relate to others.
Well, yeah, the old ABC was always be closing, right? And that's the ego era. And the whole language was we're number one or I'm number one. Well, nobody is attracted to number one anymore. They don't care if you're number one or number 32. Can you serve their needs, right? So the new language in the generosity generation, as I termed it, the ABC is always be connecting. Always be connecting, right? Always be connecting people. Always be connecting with other people. Always be open to connectivity, right? Connectivity is the key, especially in today's crisis environment. And the other part too is no longer is it I'm number one or we're number one. The new slogan of this era is I am here to help.
Yes.
We are here to help. The word help. And people respond to I am here to help. And the consumer is the one who drove this, not Michael Maher or Mike Cuevas or anybody else. The consumer was the one who went away from the ego era and really was more attracted to this generosity generation of I am here to help. We want help. We all want help. And we want you to listen to us. And when you listen to us, if you're not the help, then recommend someone who can help us. Like if you're not the one, then find someone else. And so that's the thing. The consumer changed from find me, sell me. You got to find me, hunt me down, chase me, and then you got to convince me. You got to sell me. The find me, sell me consumer is no longer even out there. The new consumer is hear me, help me. Hear me out. Yeah. And then help me get to wherever and you know what? Our brands need to be associated with helping. What is that helping? Like with your real estate marketing dude, marketing helps me if I have something I need to market. Boom. It makes sense. So I think that's the big thing that we really have to do is how attractive is your brand to the consumer of today. Now that consumer may not be the same 10 years from now, but that's who it is today. And I'm a believer that the exercise of figuring out what your name is for your brand and what your logo is one of the greatest exercises you can ever do. Because imagine you coming up with a symbol that represents you and your business. I mean, how special is that? And then you can put it on note cards. You can put it on your, chest, right? You can put it everywhere, and it represents you, and it makes people think of you. And it's actually a great exercise to try to figure out what is a symbol or picture that's going to represent me in my life.
That's a really good point, Michael. It's your theme. It's everything that you stand for. Let me put it this way. When a restaurant, a brand new restaurant opens up, say it's especially like a lounge or something, what they do is they pay tens of thousands of dollars to these mixologists. And these mixologists, like people who make drinks and everything, right?
Okay.
So, and these drinks don't even exist yet because they have to create them to match the ambiance of the restaurant. And that's why you go and you spend $14 on a little foo-foo drink that's full of ice and you get 2 sips. Right. But it tastes great, right? So, but that drink has to fit the ambiance of the restaurant. And that's really all of what our brands are supposed to do. So when I design a logo, I don't care if the brand name is your name, like if it's Michael Cuevas, great, but I care what the image says. And a brand logo, there's a difference between a logo and a brand logo. And we're not talking about just putting a set of keys with a roof over it and your initials. Like that's easy. That's a logo. A brand is what does a logo stand for? So when you hit it out of the park, when your logo does 3 things, in my opinion, and what it has to do is first,
notes.
The logo needs to tell a story.
Yeah.
2, it needs to remind people you're in real estate. And 3, it needs to inflect your personality. And you could do that very easily with visual imagery. So what a lot of people don't realize is that if we go back to the caveman days, this is how important your visual imagery is.
Yeah.
Okay? Verbal, people only retain 10% of stuff that comes out of our mouth, which means that what we see is more impactful than what we hear. All right. So if you go back to the Egyptian days and the hieroglyphics, how did people, if you go into caves right now, they used to tell stories with pictures. That's how important it is. So you have to realize that every time that picture takes precedence, what it does is it reinforces the fact of whom you are and what you do. When we're creating these community videos, I want the branding there because I don't care if it's a business owner and it has nothing to do with real estate. Right. As long as your logo is demonstrated with that video, you're subconsciously reminding your database that you're in real estate. That's right. And the video is just the authority building because all a real estate agent is a tourism advocate for their local community.
That's right.
Right. So did that make sense how I said that? I sort of went off on a little bit of a tangent.
100%. It really made me think of how do we learn a language, right? How did we learn? And it was a picture of an apple, and then you flipped it over and it spelled APPLE. We realized that these letters in this order represent this symbol. And when we see an apple, we now know how to spell apple or whatever it may be. And we're doing the same thing with us. We are, all right, what are we standing for if we boiled it down to one symbol? And that symbol says it all, right? Yep. It tells a story. It's a reflection of our personality. And it's what was the third thing that you said? It's
remind them you're in real estate.
Remind of what your profession is or what you represent, right?
Yep.
So all right, so I want to do 2 things real quick. So we're kicking butt with this, by the way. I mean, honestly, people could just quit now and go get the download, and they'd be really, really happy. But don't quit right now because, go to referralspodcast.com after this. And this guy's so generous. Mike is a representative of the generosity generation. This guy gets it in a big way. You're going to get an ebook on how to become the local celebrity realtor in your area, right? And just so you know, some of you are not realtors, you're lenders, or you are in other professions. Hey, guess what? You want to be the local celebrity dentist? Go get this download. The other thing is, are you kidding me with this? He's got a free course for you, brand you university course that you can also download. He's giving you a free course, free ebook, giving you tons of follow-up content. The guy rocks. He's hitting it out of the park, and I encourage you to go check that out. Now, the second thing I want you to do is, Mike, I want your opinion on my logo that's on my chest. I wore this shirt for you.
Did you? I like it. I honestly recognize that for you. You get it. I think your emoticon even is branded with that logo. And I see it everywhere. I know what it is now. And that logo should stand alone. Like, I want a logo. This is my new one. You see this little popsicle?
Yeah, I love it.
It's called Sweet Assist is the new. But this logo, this popsicle will stick out because there's going to be a lot of different softwares. There'll only be one with a popsicle.
Is it a popsicle with sunglasses?
Yeah. He's got a smiley face on there.
Yeah, I love it. Anything. Hey, listen, that's something for everybody. Right now in the current environment, if you can use a heart, if you can use an animal, or you can use a smiley face, you're going to win, right? Totally. I mean, why is Pac-Man making a comeback? It's making a comeback because it's got a smiley face logo. I mean, people literally are having tournaments with Mrs. Pac-Man and all that. It's making a big giant comeback because it fits today's generation, right? It's a cool game. So what do you think of my logo? What do you think? You like it?
I like it. Yeah. All right. I like it.
What do you think of it? I mean, you know a lot, but like what's it say to you before you kind of knew what it said, right?
Well, it's the lion, it's a king of I mean, I know you, but I could tell it's a king of something, and then when I match it up to the heart behind you, it tells me it's a king of referrals.
Yeah,
king of love, king of generosity.
You know what's so funny is since I've been wearing this, I've been called the referral king more than I ever have, and that wasn't even the intention. So I just want you to know that. But really, it stands for the Army of Ambassadors, right? And the Army of the Ambassadors, this is the logo that's on their shield. This is your army of ambassadors who are out there speaking highly of you and referring you. I truly believe that's the secret to success in business, is creating an army of brand ambassadors, right? And that's where the word ambassador comes from, is brand ambassadors. And so this is our logo for our army, and imagine it on a black flag, or imagine it, on a shield. And this is I've been on the Army of Ambassadors tour for about 14 months now, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So,
do you guys sell a lot of those shirts?
We do. That's funny you asked that. So yeah, and then
it's a cool shirt. Like I would wear that. Just like out. Like it's just it's cool.
Let's get you one. You know what? What size do you wear?
Well, I'm extra large. Don't tell me trying to get you down to the large.
No. I mean, if you were going to buy a guy's shirt,
give me. I'm a large. I'm a large.
Okay. We'll get you a large. And I have to tell you, you'll love it because the back of it says, "Ask me about referrals."
Love it.
Right. So you're working out, and somebody comes up and goes, "What's this about referrals?" Well, guess what? You're going to get into a conversation about business, right? Yep. So. Thank you. And then the second thing, all right, so let's dive into one small aspect of building a brand. And what's funny is I say small only because it's just one way to do it, but it happens to be a really important way to do it, is video. Like, how important is video in marketing and branding today?
A lot of reasons. I mean, the writing's on the wall. Every platform's putting it at the forefront, and they're putting an emphasis on it. Like, for example, right now I'm putting all my content on Pinterest. Pinterest just released their video platform program. I'm going to put 150 videos on there. Right now I'm getting 37,000 views a month on Pinterest. And I was only like 3,700 followers. So I don't know the platform yet, but I know that there's a thing. But what I'm getting at is, you guys, this is attention-based. So this isn't your typical prospecting or lead generation thing. It's attention-based. So here's how it works with video. Picture farming, but just doing it with video. And the channels in which we farm would be video email. Yeah. Last week, there were a lot of annoyed people. They probably got a bunch of turn back the clock emails, right? That's right. It's crap content, you guys. Like, we don't open them. If you don't open up the emails and you ask yourself, why are you, and then you're guilty of sending the same email, you can't ask yourself why your referral game's not picking up.
Right.
So there's a difference between an ongoing, let me explain, this is the easiest way to understand it. So when I started doing, with the way to look at video, when I started practicing content marketing, I follow a company called Digital Marketers. So all props to Ryan Dice and all those guys. But one of the examples that really helped me get my mind around it was this. So back in the day, these guys are online digital consultants. And he was giving an example of how he had a client was a roofing company. So you're talking about how do you market a roofing company online? It's a hard sale. They're in Texas. So the average roof would take 25 years before they reorder. The person has a better chance of like dying or moving out from the house before they order a new roof. And it's not like people refer roofers. So they were always a new customer acquisition game. It wasn't a referral dominated business, which is a hard thing. So how did they go out there and create an online marketing plan?
Yeah.
So they created a gutter cleaning service. And the gutter cleaning service, if the going rate was $97, they charged $29. Yeah. And they hired a bunch of gutter cleaners, and the gutter cleaners were trained to identify roofing issues. They marketed the gutter cleaning service first. So what do you think happened?
Well, their roof sales went up.
Working by referral is not some fairy tale world. It's real. I've seen it. And you can too. Invest in yourself by learning how to run your business by referral at Michael's upcoming live event. It will be a day filled with hands-on, how-to, low to no-cost strategies that you can implement in your business right away. Learn how to run a business by referral that not only feeds your family, but feeds your soul. Go to www.gengenevents.com today. That's www.gengenevents.com.
Roof sales went through the roof.
Roofing consultations, right?
Roof sales went through the roof, but they treated the gutter cleaning service as that loss leader to identify potential prospects. Today, I look at video as the exact same thing, but it also simultaneously builds your brand. Because it is such a noisy world in social media, the truth is that if you're not marketing your network or staying in front of them, somebody else is infiltrating it. In today's world, it's going to be a lot of it's going to be the big tech companies that are coming after realtors and trying to throw them under the bus. These are the iBuyers. This is Zillow. This is all of the other big companies that, and this is capitalism, folks. I mean, this is competition. So when things like this happen, we rise up. The one way you can compete against all that is through brand connection.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people are giving us like at the end of the day, people don't like big tech. They don't like big companies. They don't like, there's no emotion in any of those sales.
Right.
So we actually have a way to compete against it. However, if they get the first call though, that's more what I would be concerned with.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're drowning airwaves with advertisements, and wait till they start turning it up.
Right.
So content.
This is better than an ad, right? I mean, this video is it. I hope everybody understands that, because it's leverageable, it's scalable, it's shareable. Advertisement on a TV show, I mean, that's a dinosaur. People are skipping through it. They're recording over it. They fast forward through it. They don't share it. Here's the other thing. It's $120,000 to create it at least. Plus you've got all the other things on top of that. And here you are, like right now we're doing a 1 hour advertisement, essentially, right? A video. And it's better because you can see our tone. It's direct from us. Correct. You can do it. I mean, in the background of yours, you have items about Real Estate Marketing Dude and Flip This Agent. Behind mine, it's the Referrals Podcast and the Army of Ambassadors tour stuff. So it's content rich. We're adding value. How much value does an advertisement add to people's lives? It's negative. It's literally less than zero. Whereas we're giving a ton of value through a video that you can do. So the instant, thing I see is, all right, the old age was postcards, market reports sent out, very labor intensive, very expensive, and very rarely seen or responded to.
Yep.
Facebook group with a monthly video doing a market update. So you have a Facebook group for your farm community. And in that group, you're going to do a market update on a monthly basis with video. Cost nothing, preparation's almost nothing, just get the stats. And the attention is probably going to be close to 80 to 90%.
Yep.
In a nutshell. I mean, it's like, why should you listen to this? It's like,
you just said it. We were still creating content back then.
Yeah.
And they were just market reports. So the people have always created content. but we've never really created content that represents our personal brand before. Yeah. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So let's go into a couple examples of how different what I mean by that.
What are the key ingredients to making a great video, right? That would be good to know. Right?
Authenticity, which means you have to talk about stuff. I'm going to give you two examples, two different ones.
Okay.
So we have a vet, because everyone always asks me, which I do videos on. There isn't a universal answer. There's a million things to do videos on. And before we ever do videos for anyone, we have to figure out what's right for them.
There you go.
So I'll give you an example. Here's a guy in San Diego. He's a veteran. He's from the Navy. And 95% of his business comes from the Navy or the veteran community. So how are we going to build that brand? He doesn't have a big sphere of influence here. So it's direct cold. He's going through the relationship building route. So we created a series for him, a show called San Diego Salute. Okay. San Diego Salute is a community show, but the content is geared towards the veteran community.
Is that your phone or mine? Sorry, real quick.
That's not mine, I don't think.
Okay. If it's mine, I really apologize. It's just like, wow.
I don't see anything.
All right. But we'll edit that. What time is it?
He'll go in and he'll create, if he's going to do a business owner interview for content, it has to be veteran owned.
There you go. I like that.
Or they have to give back to the veteran community. If he was going to do a neighborhood tour, he's probably scripting the neighborhood tour, the vicinity to base, the schools. He's talking more about relocations and PCSing into the area. And if he's ever going to talk about real estate content, he's going to do it in the form of a drill sergeant or a boot camp. So the point being is that we all have heard the term, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right?
That's right.
Well, your brand is the average of the stories you tell. It's the same thing, and you look at it the exact same way. So if you wanted to be the #1 military-friendly agent, you need to create all the military-friendly content.
That's right.
I'll give you another one. This is a fun one I did yesterday. So I have a mortgage broker, and he's in 3 markets, Nashville, Fresno, or Central Valley, California, and Orange County. So he's a foodie. He loves food. The name of his show is What's Cooking? Fine dining and fine living. That's the theme. Okay, so when he scripts neighborhood tours, we're doing a restaurant show, but within the script is going to be what fine living area is it in.
Yeah.
And I have him wearing a chef's hat on every episode.
Yeah, so dang right.
People are going to remember the chef's hat. I have another guy in St. Louis, same thing. I'm getting him instead of putting a parrot on his shoulder, it's going to be a cardinal to represent St. Louis Cardinals because they're all crazy baseball fans.
That's that, right? That's right. I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm a Royals and a Cardinals fan. So, and I also root for the Braves because I now live in Atlanta. But yeah, and St. Louis, that's all they have, right? I mean, they have the Blues and the Cardinals.
With it. Yes.
So the Cardinals are humongous but
he's a sporto, so that it fits his brand. If he didn't like the Cardinals, and I would say, why would you do that? You can't fake that.
I love it.
People get more comfortable when you start talking about stuff that you really like. And honestly, all we're really doing is just turning the camera on with stuff we're already doing.
That's right.
That's what it should be. Like, you guys don't overthink the content creation. Doesn't have to tell people you're in real estate. You just need to remind them that you're in real estate. And anything you do in the local community will accomplish that.
Yeah. So what besides authenticity, right? What are some other key ingredients to making a great video? And should we use a green screen? Or should we
do them on either or? Yeah, so you could do them on either or. Let's start with the format first. Format first, every beginning of every video has an attention getter. 75% of people are going to say yes or no to watching the rest of it based upon what's on in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So an attention getter could be as simple as, this is the best taco I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah.
Right? It's a teaser, just like how they do on any television show.
Yeah.
The next scene is always an intro. Hey, welcome to another episode of the San Diego Transplant. My name is Mike Cuevas with Big Block Realty, and today we're talking about the commute times from point A to point B, especially what that means at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
When you create a show, you're forced to tell a story. If you don't have a show, you tend to be forced to talk about yourself, and then a lot of people run out of things to say.
True.
So a lot of it's mental. But then I would go into my body, which I typically would do 2 or 3 points, and I go into an outro. The way you script stories, you guys, is the same way we're all taught to write letters. Go back to 2nd grade and look at the format that your 2nd grade teacher taught you to write a letter. Your attention getter is Dear Mike.
Yeah.
Your intro is, today I'm writing to you because I want you to tell you more about real estate marketing, dude, and how we as a company can help you do this and that. I want to give you 3 or 4 reasons. The first reason, now I'm in the body. It's the same thing, and every reality show follows the exact same format. all we're doing, you guys, is copying it, because you have to become a storyteller to do video consistently on this, in my opinion. If you're not telling stories, you're talking about yourself, and you will run out of things to say.
And that's just brilliant utilization of the English language, right? I mean, when you speak, it should be a hook, an intro, or tell them what you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them, which is the 3 points, and then tell them what you told them, and then an outro, which is a call to action, or what's next, right?
Yep.
And it's just like, I love that. Very simple, straight to the point. And what kind of equipment do you need to get started? What's the cost to put video at play for us?
So you need a total of less than $200 of equipment. $120 of that is going to be a green screen studio if you're going to do green screen. The only time you're going to do green screen is if you have the proper editing with it.
Yeah.
So the difference between green screen videos and live videos or on site is that I think you get more engagement on the live videos because they're more real. Yeah. But they take more time. Right. Green screen, we could do 3 videos in 60 minutes on a green screen. So it's a matter of time management. 3 different backgrounds, good editing, and all of that. So what's more important, though, isn't so much on what style of videos you're doing or the format, but first and foremost is the consistency of them.
That's right.
And setting up that schedule.
Yeah.
And then most people could do a little bit of both. But the way we have to look at content creation is modern day prospecting. Yeah. And with a little bit of time management, people always ask me, how much time does it take? Dude, an hour per video, an hour and a half per video. If you can't donate that much time to your business, I don't know if you're running one today. Yeah. It's just the way we have to practice and market our business has changed. This is just one way to change with it.
Yeah, and I love that. And it's one of those where you can do it so inexpensively, and yet it's so leverageable, scalable, shareable, that kind of thing. And people should be doing it. And
see this tool? This is a wide angle camera lens on my computer.
Yeah.
On my camera. This is $12.
Yeah.
That's what does this.
Yeah.
You put that on your phone.
Yeah.
We use an $18 tripod.
Yeah.
And we use a $12 microphone. And a cell phone. That's it.
So I have a Logitech 920, right? Which is fairly inexpensive, right? And then I've got a mic that was recommended by John Lee Dumas, right? But I use
2100.
I use the Yeti forever, and I honestly, in some ways, I think I still like the Yeti better, but this is a good mic. But you're talking very inexpensively. You can get radio show quality coming out of your video. And I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. It's like, don't get wrapped up. What kind of equipment do you need and how much does it cost to get started is the wrong question.
Correct.
It really is. It's when am I going to do this? And just schedule the time and then commit to it. And then you're like, all right, what am I going to do about? Just the first one, do an introduction. Like, introduce yourself. Like, I am this person. You could even follow the frog outline from 7L, which is family, recreation, occupation, and goals. Like, what about your family? Tell people about your family. Tell people about what you do for fun. Tell people what you do for your profession. I'm a realtor. I love selling homes. And then your goals, which could be a referral goal, or it could just be, I want to do 10 million this year. That's that's the amount that I want to sell. That'll be about 20 homes in our marketplace because we're at 500,000 average sales price. That kind of, you could share your goals that way and then wrap it up. Guess what? That video is now something you could use in a million different places. You meet someone at a networking event, you focus on them and you're like, oh man, I didn't tell them anything about myself. You send them the video. That is just like, hey, to get to know me better video, literally we could brainstorm, we would come up with 5 million different ways to use video.
Well, the biggest reason, honestly, and let's be honest, like none of your competitors are doing it.
Yeah.
So it's a differentiator right now. And that's why I say it's a massive game of attention. I promise you guys in 3 years, everyone's going to be forced to get on video. Every business is. This isn't a real estate thing. This is just what's happening. But it's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity because it's just how you stand out. Like the biggest thing I get is people, is there anyone in my market yet doing this?
Yeah.
It's the first question I get always, no matter what. Is there anyone else in my market doing this? I say,
doesn't
why does
matter.
it matter?
It doesn't matter.
I go, why does it matter? I go, if there were 12 of you guys doing the exact same thing, each of you would be doing it differently because each of you would be resonating because there is no one size fits all because it all is based upon your personality. And your brand, folks, is the only unique selling proposition we still have today.
That's right. That's right. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because you're gonna put your own spin. I will tell you, if 10 agents from the same market read the exact same script and put it out, your spheres don't overlap anyway. So none of the same people would see it. Number two is even if they did, they would not even recognize that you said the same script because you're all going to say it differently. So it doesn't matter. I mean, here's the deal. There's really you're like, well, I'm not all that good looking. Well, I've done pretty well by not being very good looking with video. So I think, that's what I am, right? There's so many of these great looking speakers out there like you and other people. And it's one of those where it's like, they see me and they go, you know what, if Maher can do video, I can do video. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where it's like, it doesn't matter what you look like. And by the way, you don't need to hit a glamour spot with your video. The more real and raw it is, if it's a little windy, if it's a little, outdoors, if it's a little not right, it actually is more endearing. You can read that in all of Gladwell's books. He talks about how people are more attractive when they make mistakes. Correct. They're more attractive when there's a flaw. And that's the truth, is because people go, you know what? I could have made that mistake too.
Here's you're funny. Yeah, you say that because some of the best commented videos, like at least with our women clients, are when they're doing I remember this one, her name's Mel Parsons in Seattle. She did she was getting her hair done and she was interviewing her local stylist, but she opened up her attention getter in the foilies or whatever those things are called.
Yes.
So for most women wouldn't do that. But because she did, that's why she got like X amount of comments. And what happened was everyone's like, oh my God. Why? Because they all have been there and they all related to the same thing. So Michael's exactly right. The more human you make it, the more attractive you become. And that's what I mean by go be personable over professional every single day, at least on video.
Especially on Facebook, right? On Facebook, it's so, because on Facebook, it's all fake, right? Everybody's putting out their best. It's so funny is Mike, you get this too. Like you speak and everybody wants to take a picture with you, right? And the women, especially, the guys do this too, but especially the women flip their hair and then they're like, wait, and then they put their left leg forward, they put their right leg like this, they turn their shoulders in a certain way, they lean a certain way, and then they flip their hair back and they go, well, bam, blue steel, right? It's blue steel every time, right? A Zoolander reference for those of you that don't know. But it's one of those where, and then I'm standing there like, and they're blue steel next to me. And it's like everything on Facebook is blue steel. Everybody's looking their best. I have to tell you, one of the best ways to stand out is to be real and raw and genuine and just be you. That doesn't mean you show up without being hygienic, right? Take a shower every once in a while. But it's never all going to be perfect. Just do what you do, you be you. And just record it. You can always delete it. If somebody says, oh my gosh, in the background, there's blah, blah, blah. You can always, all right, you know what, delete. So,
yep.
So, all right. So we're going to cover this. What are a couple of mistakes that people make when they do their videos? And then we'll go to kind of like final comments and wrap it up a little bit.
Biggest mistake is paralysis by analysis, or however you say that, like just not getting started. People worry more about what they say versus how they say it. And people will only retain 10% comes out of your mouth. So like if I'm talking to you and we had this monotone voice the entire time, this whole show would probably be sleeping by now. But if we talk like this, everyone's like all excited, right? That's the power of tonality and body language.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of that comes through, and why it goes back that you have to be creating videos on stuff you're actually passionate about.
Yeah.
And whether you know it or not, you're not in this business for any other reason than you're passionate about your community. At least if you're successful. I don't think anyone could fake a success in this business. You have to love what you do.
That's right.
And that shines. So go ahead and be that community advocate. position yourself as the hero of your community, showcasing and advocating for it. And that authenticity will absolutely shine. Just make sure it matches up with what your interests are. It's okay to be a geek. It's okay to be a dude. Yeah. It's okay to be a mom. It's okay to be a nerd. You know, like God made one of you. That's it. That's the coolest thing ever. So go ahead and scream it from the damn rooftops. That's what I'm saying. Scream it. That's it. Don't overthink this stuff, you guys. You have a huge opportunity. And nobody ever says, oh my God, that video was so horrible. And if they did, you say, delete. And if no one hates on your stuff, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. You just change the approach, right?
Yep.
So I love that. I love that. And we're here with the real estate marketing dude, Mike Cuevas. And I have to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on today. We've dropped about 10,000 nuggets into the world here today on branding and video. And I will tell you that it doesn't stop here, right? The generosity doesn't stop. And Mike has very, very generously contributed an ebook called How to Become the Celebrity Realtor in Your Local Area. And he's also got a course called Brand You University, free course that you can take for listeners of Referrals Podcast only. Go to referralspodcast.com, download the ebook, get the free online course on how to brand yourself and how to make sure that you use video in your branding. And Mike, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you being a guest of Referrals Podcast. This is surely one that people are going to want to share, and they're going to want to download, and they're probably going to watch over and over again to get the little nuggets. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun. We got to keep doing these.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too is if you're not familiar with this podcast, go check out Real Estate Marketing Dude podcast. It's a very, very good podcast. He's the host of it. He has a lot of great guests. He's even had me on there, so you can check that out. And check out realestatemarketingdude.com. And he's also has a phenomenal software coming out. Mike, what's the software that you got coming out, and what's the solution that it's going to provide?
So our software is called Suite Assist. It's going to launch next month. It's an all-in-one for independent brokerages, transaction management, a whole referral marketing system, video, email, direct mail automation. It focuses on two things: enhancing the consumer experience, as well as staying in front of our most important assets, which are the relationships that we have in life. This is not lead generation. We also have an agent version of that if you're not a broker or your broker does not have the solution, and that's called Brand You. So you'll be seeing that launch this month. And we're excited about that.
By the time this airs,
right now,
probably out. Suite Assist.
It only took 5 years to build. See these bags under my eyes? That's 5 years of development right there.
I will tell you what, I know all the moms out there are really, really cool and special because they had a baby in 9 months. I want you to know that entrepreneurs sometimes takes 5 years to have a baby. And that's a great example. It took me 3 years to birth the Bouncing Baby book 7L. And so I definitely understand the excitement that you have with coming out with that Suite Assist and Brand You, and can't wait for people to see that on the marketplace. So once again, Mike, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, everybody. Listen, this episode, do me a favor. You've already downloaded it. Do me a favor. Subscribe to the podcast if you have not yet, Referrals Podcast. And then the other thing, too, is you have colleagues, you have new agents in the office, you have Facebook groups that you belong to. Do me a favor, do yourself a favor, do them a favor, and share referralspodcast.com. Listen, you don't just get one download. You get 80 plus downloads because we've had 80 plus episodes. That's right. With every episode, you get a download. But if you haven't heard the other episodes, you actually get all those downloads too. It is cumulative, a cumulative effect. And we do that at the Referral Library. We look forward to seeing you at referralspodcast.com. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great one. We will see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast. Thanks, everybody.